We don't. Oh,
Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DiChara coming to you live from downtown Levittown, New York for another amazing. What are you laughing about, Elizabeth?
that you totally just pranked me, and I thought we were live for like 3 minutes, and you're telling
Oh yeah,
bad jokes.
got Elizabeth on a couple of childish bad dad jokes. So yeah, I told her we were live and we weren't. So next time you'll be on your guard. Don't take me seriously unless I tell you to.
That's
Okay,
true. We
so
have to be very careful with what Joe is putting out there. Okay,
yeah,
don't.
so we are the only accounting firm in the universe that our primary goal is to have fun, right?
I, that's my favorite core value:
In
fun,
fact,
family, friends,
you're the CFO, the chief. What is that?
fun officer. Come on,
Chief Fund Officer.
financials are fun, Joe.
They could be. They should be. A lot of people don't think they are, but we make them fun. Uh,
Once you have that firm foundation, you have a system, you have a process. If you have a system and a process and you know what you're doing, of course it's fun. The most successful people in the world, do you know what they're doing, Joe?
they're not looking at their financial statements, are
No,
they?
they are. They are. They are definitely looking at their numbers. Some of them
Well,
obsessively, okay?
they know their numbers. They meet with their accountant on a regular basis. They go through their balance sheet, their profit and loss statement. Hopefully, it's a profit, and they can deep dive into what I call the story of your business, and that's really what it is. It's the history. Elizabeth just bailed out on us, so she will be coming back shortly. Uh, Obviously, some technical issues, but we go on, we pivot. So anyway, what we have been talking about, and here she comes. That was whatever. That was a technical thing.
It's a glitch. I just dropped out. You started talking about financials and I got scared. I ran away, Joe.
So here's the thing. So we do have an announcement. This isn't just a regular, just a conversation. We do have a lot of conversations. We do have a lot of fun, and we're running a business. We're running a growing business, and one of the uh, offshoots of that is we created a course for accounting and taxes for people that want to do this in the U.S. And it was a successful course. In fact, we're on our second batch now. We have over 100 students total, past and current. Some of them are taking the course over again. People that actually got their certificates, they're certified Bedrock business builders.
I think it's because we're funny, Joe. All right. We talk about a lot of interesting things. We go real in depth about the government, about forms. Like, who doesn't want to know about tax forms, right? The 1120S. Is that right?
Not
Section, no?
Yeah, not
That's
many people like Section 169 and Form 4562. And we're not going to talk about that.
not even the de minimis rule.
Nah, nah,
Oh,
that's part of the course. If somebody wants to learn about that, they have to go to our website, Bedrock Business Builders, and I think they could register there, right?
they can register for the course still. They
Um,
can register for the course. They can sit in. They can see the evergreen recordings. They can get certified. They can do the projects. They can do one on one meetings with you or me. But really, really, what's really exciting about all of this is that it has resulted in a beautiful manifesto.
the secret sauce to accounting and taxes in the U.S., or the secret sauce to accounting and U.S.
Tax preparation.
tax. Okay. And the whole, so this was Elizabeth's idea. She stayed up at night, she studied it, she kept reading it, and she this is all you really. I just taught what I know, what I've learned, and it's all fundamental basic accounting principles and tax returns. So our students, what's really gratifying for me, Elizabeth, is that these are people that never did US tax returns. Most of them knew bookkeeping. A lot of them knew accounting. And we took that fundamental information and we drilled all the way down to how do these numbers get on a financial report? Because they don't just appear there. They don't just appear. We get them from someplace. We do our bookkeeping, we do our accounting, and we produce reliable financial reports. Okay.
Well, one of the things that you tell us, Joe, and I have to agree with this because I see it, we can all see it online. A lot of big companies have public records, open records. We can see all of their financials. We see their profit and loss statements. We see what their projected earnings are going to be, right? That's a big deal. But it doesn't matter if you're Elon Musk and Tesla or if you're Joe DeChara and Bedrock Business Builders, you're going to have the same type of categorization. You're going to have the same type of charter of accounts. You're going to have the same type of profit and loss statements. It's those fundamentals within all businesses that make it so they all have to fill out the same tax forms, right? Those fundamentals.
We fill out, we're a C Corp. Bedrock Business Builders is a C Corp. I have an S Corp. So if you're following me, you know that I'm a proponent of S corps. That's a whole nother subject. You can actually go to Amazon, and I have my itty bitty S corp book, and we are putting together another book on S corps and how LLCs tie into S corps. But yes, you know, the interesting thing people don't realize is that Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple all use the same 1120 form as Bedrock Business Builders. Is that amazing or what?
I'm pretty stoked by it.
Well, so obviously, you know, they have a lot more schedules. They're a lot more complicated. They have to answer questions that we don't have to answer. But the the page one and page four, where the balance sheet is, page one is the income report. You come down to your taxable income, and that's got to match the financial reports that you see online, unless, you know, and I don't want to do a deep dive, but they could have a different method of accounting for tax purposes and for financial
Well,
reporting.
this is because the IRS doesn't require everybody to have the same method of accounting. In fact, everybody is entitled to have their own method of accounting. The IRS only has a suggested way to do it. But we've had clients who their records are through pictures, right, Joe? Like they
Well,
have
no,
proved their expenses in different ways.
yeah. So we're actually talking about two different things. There's how you put your records together, but there's your accounting methods, which is, are you cash basis accrual or do you have some kind of combination? And that's something that we cover in the course. We cover it in the course, you know, your method of accounting. Most small businesses are on a cash basis. But we didn't come here really to talk about the course. We came here today to really talk about the book.
The book that came from the course, right? Like that, the book is is it the train? I'm not sure. The other day I talked about how Bedrock Business Builders was on a train and we were all just going to go with it, right? So this book, which I wanted at one point to call it the book, the secret sauce to accounting and tax preparation in the US, makes it so that confusion, like I just talked about 2 seconds ago, because there's a lot of confusing terms. There's a lot of confusing paperwork. There's a lot of different ways to crack an egg. All right. And there's lots of layers in this onion. And that's where the secret sauce puts and cracks those eggs and peels those onions and makes it so it comes alive. It tastes good. It goes down easy. All right. It's not going to like,
I'm
ooh, what
getting
am I
hungry now.
doing?
I'm getting hungry now. But you know, not only one of the ways that we make things fun is we keep it simple. And that's a key. That's a key to business is complicated enough. Life is complicated. It's hard. So why overcomplicate things? That's what entrepreneurs, myself included, do. So we're taking the seemingly very, very complicated topic and we're simplifying it. That's what we did. We got it down to its lowest common denominator. And the truth is that the principles that we use to do our accounting are a lot of the same principles that all those big guys do. And basically, it's how do we get these business transactions onto our books, make them so they're reliable, and that we can ultimately produce a tax return. But more important, Elizabeth, what do you think is more important than just filing your tax return?
Having a system.
That's part of it. When you have a good system, you get results, and the results are the balance sheet and profit and loss statement. We need that to do the tax return, but more importantly, we need it to measure cash flow, see how we've done. More importantly, why that happened, because those numbers are really just a result of what happened before. So we want to take that information and really bring it forward to, okay, this is what we did. Did it match what we thought we were going to do? And if it doesn't, what do we have to tweak? From the top, revenue down to the last expense. And I love cutting expenses because that goes right to the bottom line. And this is what the book is about. And without realizing it, I believe, it was a brilliant idea that you had to make it into a book that we publish. I never really looked at it, but now I look at it, I said, this is something that I believe just entrepreneurs they should have a knowledge of this stuff. They don't have to become accountant. It was geared towards teaching people how to become an accountant and do tax returns. And I think most of our students know how to do that now.
But
Okay.
it's written in such a way, Joe, that 14-year-olds can read it. We were talking about the age range of this book. No joke. You could be in a high school class, business class, and you could want to know how you're going to get your profit and loss statement, how you're going to charter your accounts, how you're going to do a vendor map, any of those things, right? You read this book, you could get that. You could get the outcome. And it's not like it's some mammoth textbook. A lot of times when you go to classes, you have this mammoth $300 textbook. That is not what this is. The secret sauce it illustrates, it makes it come alive, the system that's being used. One of the reasons why it's called the secret sauce, and this is a secret, okay? The secret is that McDonald's, they have a secret sauce. Now, we didn't steal any trademarked anything right there with that, okay? But McDonald's does the business that it does at the volume that it does. McDonald's makes the amount of money it does and is able to franchise because the owners created the perfect kitchen. Okay, for fast food, for it to go from one place to another, from taking the order all of a sudden to creating it and to getting it out the window or getting it out to the customer. And that's where bookkeeping and accounting and tax preparation can have the same type of system. If you simplify it, if you make it so it's replicable, if you can duplicate it, if you can make it so your clients as an accountant or a bookkeeper doesn't have some crazy system that you have to follow, but you instead have the system, the answer that they're looking for to service them the best way possible. Well, don't you know, you're the McDonald's of bookkeeping and accounting and tax preparation. And it's the secret sauce. It is the operations of an accounting department and how to properly do that, whether you're just working with one client or you're working with mass amount of clients. The
Or
system works for everyone.
you're an entrepreneur business owner, because I get a lot of questions, and a lot of them are really not the right questions. Like, what can I write off? I understand that people want to know that, and you know what my answer is. The answer is anything related to your business that's reasonable and necessary. Now, that's on a fact and circumstance situation. You're not going to find this in the tax code, but we were talking about the case where a junkyard owner was able to write off their cat food and their veterinarian food.
I
Okay.
thought they had dogs, Joe.
They might have junkyard dog
Cats,
too.
dogs, kill mice, get
Here's,
the
here's the bottom line. The IRS didn't like that. They disallowed it. They challenged it in tax court, which everybody has a chance to do. And the tax court said, yeah, it's reasonable and it's necessary because it kept the rats and the snakes away. Okay. And the judge, I guess, said, who wants to go to a junkyard with rats and snakes all over the place? So in that case, it was reasonable and necessary. There's all kinds of cases like that we could get into. We've actually had workshops on that. And you could go and see our prior workshops if you go to our website. But the question that nobody, there's a couple of questions that nobody ever asked me, and they're in the book. You want to know what they are?
Yeah, Joe, please let me know.
One, when does the business actually start? Okay. Nobody's ever asked me that because the point is that as soon as it starts, you can start writing stuff off. They want to know, what can I write off? I'm like, no, that's the wrong question. It's when can I write it off? And it's as soon, there's two things you need to start a business: an idea and action. That's it. And as soon as you take action, a lot of the stuff that's all around you, your computer, your cell phone, your car, they all become business use. Even your where you're working, where I'm working. I work in my apartment. I write off part of my apartment. Okay, I write off my cable bill. Why? Because I needed a fast internet connection, and what they provided here was slow. I'm writing off 100% of my internet connection. If they wanted, if I got audited, which I won't, okay, but if I did, I could prove that it's 100% deductible. There's a lot of ways to prove it. We go through that in the book. You know, it's the section on books and records, which that's what the IRS asks you for. When you get a letter that says, you know, anything, we command you to bring your books and records down, the book explains what books and records are. But the most important thing I think entrepreneurs don't ask their accountant is, how are you coming up with these numbers that go on my tax return? I've been, now, you know, that we get clients all the time from other firms, and we look at their returns, and some of these are big firms, and we can't, and even today I was going back and forth with an accountant, and they could not produce a trial balance or any kind of information that backed up what was on the tax return.
They're
The
just
truth,
making it up, huh?
they literally, because there was no fixed asset schedule, there were no fixed assets on the balance sheet or P&L, which they got from the client, who is not a bookkeeper, not an accountant. She gave them the QuickBooks file. They just took the info. There were no bank recs. It was, you know, what all she used QuickBooks for was really pay her bills and invoice some people. She didn't know accounting, and they took that info and actually prepared her tax return.
I think
So,
that's going to be hard for the IRS to swallow, Joe.
well, no, what the IRS does in that instance, and this is, they would disallow all the expenses, because what they say is that, and this is the rule, your books and records have to clearly reflect what's reported on your tax return. It's not brain surgery. It's there's a trail. It's like breadcrumbs. Okay. So you say, okay, here's the tax return. There's something called a trial balance, which just summarizes all the amounts. That has to match what's on your tax return. If they don't have a trial balance, you got to say, well, how did you do the tax return? And that's the kind of stuff that's going on. So what we want to do is we want to empower people, not just people that want to learn how to do accounting and taxes, but empower entrepreneurs to say, listen, Mr. Accountant, I'm just wondering, what kind of system did you use to do my tax return?
That's a valid question. I think when you're signing the bottom of a tax return and you're saying that I understand this and I'm not committing fraud and all that jazz, that's a testament that you have to actually understand what the accountant or the tax preparer or the enrolled agent is actually giving you,
You're
right? And
actually signing, and it goes on every tax return. If you read the really little fine print,
that's the
it
best part.
says, I attest under penalties of perjury that all the information is accurate. I forget all but it's accurate. And that you have reviewed the information. And to the best of your knowledge, it reflects what's on your tax return. Okay. You can't go and say, oh, my accountant did it. It's his fault. No, and they'll look at you and say, yeah, you should have had another accountant. What do people think they're going to do? Go to the accountant? No, they're going to, and they'll just
Well,
allow
Joe,
you.
so someone in the Facebook chat says, "Can I ask my CPA?" And isn't there this whole thing where if you're filing for the client, can't you also then represent them with the IRS, but only if the client is asking you to? Do we
Well,
do that?
I think the question is, and it's a good, I think the question is, can't you say, ask my CPA? Yeah, you could say that, but they're going to say no.
Okay.
They're going to say no, that's your job. And you're signing the return under penalties of perjury that you've done this, that you've asked your accountant, that you've reviewed the numbers. Now, how do you review the numbers if you don't know how they're even put together? So, that's what this book will do. It'll tell you how they're supposed to be put together. Okay. And it'll educate you, it'll empower you to know what questions to ask your accountant. Now, the book, like Elizabeth said, we don't do a deep dive into technical terms. We actually have pictures. We have, we made it fun. We made it fun because that's what we do. It's simple, right to the point, and it applies to any kind of business. It's geared towards small businesses. But whether you have a trucking company, an e-commerce store, you're a consultant, you're a life coach, all these principles apply to you.
It's the fundamentals.
It
It
is.
makes it so you have the firm foundation for your business if you have these things.
So somebody wants a pop-up book. We could do that. We're actually going to create. I think we were talking about doing children's books, right? And,
We have been, yeah.
uh, so yeah, it looks like somebody came to me. It says my client received a refund in 2016. If you remember, we used form 911. Yeah, I don't see who you are, but
I think that was someone who came to, I don't know if it was a
okay,
workshop or if it was.
yeah, one of them. And yeah, so I'm glad, it's 2022, and I hope they didn't just get the refund.
No, they did. And like, if this was this case for the guy who came to the workshop, well, he was curious about how can
Oh,
you appeal and how can you actually get a hold of the IRS
yeah.
to make
So
it so you're being heard.
yeah, and part of the course is we talk about solving tax problems. Uh, I have a standard letter, and in there, the format, it doesn't change. And most of my letters are one page. I don't give them a whole history. Give them what they need to solve the problem. And 98% of the time, we solve the problem. Why? Because if a letter's not going to do it, I'm not sending the letter. I'm getting a power of attorney and I'm calling them. We had cases with COVID where I had to tell my clients that they have to call the congressperson because that's how bad it got. The IRS right now, they're only answering about 10% of the calls. It's going to take them years. Okay, so we've learned ways to navigate through the system as best we can. It's not easy. It's not even simple. Sometimes, a lot of times it just takes persistence.
And
Call.
one of the things we found, Joe, is that when we first started working together, it was always like we were fighting against the IRS, right? We wanted to battle them we wanted to take it to the mattresses. But instead of taking it to the mattresses and having that we're against each other type of mindset, it's more about trying to make it so we're in compliance with the IRS.
Well, not they have a job to do, okay? And like I said, my aunt worked for them for 20 years, and she worked in the collections department. She was the one that when you call, they say call this number. She was the one that answered those calls. Okay, she's the one that told me some tricks on how to get through. And I'll share those with you right now. You want to call on a Wednesday or a Thursday in the morning before they open because everything goes into a key. If you call in the afternoon, like what happened to me a bunch of times, is you call at 2, they put you on hold, and then they'll just drop you when they close. No, so you got to call at the right time. Anyway, she looked at her job as it was her opportunity to help people. Think about that, a collection agent at the IRS. And that's what they all really want to do. They have a job to do. They're just like, okay, here's the file. What's the problem? How do we solve it? So with that mentality, we don't approach it like, hey, we're battling. I use that a lot of times because my experience years ago going head to head with them, I learned how the audit process works. Okay. And they're trained to ask for certain things. And, some things I know there's other ways to prove deductions. They're looking for a receipt, a canceled check, and a lot of times that stuff isn't available. But the truth is, knowing that, listen, we have a common goal here. Let's see how we could resolve this taxpayers' issues. If they owe money, then that's the way it is. Then we create an installment agreement. We just when we so just about I don't think I've had one client audited, and my friend Scott, and I did his return. He was a Schedule C, and I wasn't certified. That was the first audit, and it was from my own client. Never had a client audited since that I did their returns. So the funny thing is, and we did an interview with Scott. He actually walked out of there, and they owed him money. Okay, that doesn't always happen, but so we get audits from other people. Either they've done it themselves. That's how most of the audits happen,
Yeah,
or
but Joe, you just talked about the IRS owing you money, right? And truly, in the course that we just completed, that is based on the book, we work with a mock client, a real case, and in that case, the students were actually able to find a way where the IRS kind of owed them more money. So one of the things that the secret sauce does, and this system and operation, and the history of the information that's in the book that Joe wrote is it actually makes it so you can find money that the IRS owes you. You can make it so you can properly strategize for your taxes. And there are times, and I've seen it, where sometimes you want your business to make money. Sometimes you don't want your business to make money. How do you do that?
let's clarify that. We
There.
always want to make money, but we want to take as the right tax strategy. Okay. We want positive cash flow. You actually got to have profits. I've had clients where I said, listen, you've been doing this for 10 years. You're working full time with a partner and you netted $30,000. You're better off getting a job at Starbucks. That literally I've had to tell people because that's the truth.
I
When you
heard Starbucks has some great stock options.
They do. That's why I said, you know what? It's a great job. They have benefits. Uh, but the truth is that some people just aren't cut out to be in business. So unfortunately, millions of businesses start and they never even gross. They never send an invoice out. They don't have any revenue. Okay. The IRS doesn't like that. They say, listen, you can't just have expenses. You have to at some point make a profit. So we take our clients and we try to help them see the numbers, say, listen, there's a reason why you haven't made any money. Maybe you're not doing this properly. That's why we have things like our mastermind group. Okay, so we're constantly trying to educate our clients. Again, that's where the book comes into play. And I lost my train of thought now.
It's
So,
about making financials fun, okay?
oh,
Like,
so
Joe can go down all these rabbit holes and all the
making,
specifics.
you want to make a profit, and then if you have a good accountant, you come up with a tax strategy. And that could be, listen, I just bought a $50,000 asset. Should we depreciate it all now, or should we take it over time? Things like that. You do have choices.
Oh, there's options. There's options on these forms, Joe.
There's a lot. There's options on how you account for things. And again,
Hmm.
as long as your return is complete and accurate, there's no problem. Nobody's going to jail. There's no criminality. And I've dealt with, criminal cases, actually criminal accounting firms, believe it or not. Somebody asked in here, okay, so now what about the preparer repping the client in this case? Yeah, so first of all, any clients that we do their returns for, I would gladly, if they got audited, unless they didn't tell me something that I should have known, we would handle their audit for free. Like if you did everything I asked you to do, if you kept the right records, it's going to be an open and shut case. I'll laugh at the IRS. But what happens is, first of all, people do their own returns. Those are most likely to get audited. Sole proprietors that do their own returns. Because the IRS knows it's like shooting fish in a barrel. They know that they probably don't have a lot of accounting knowledge. They haven't gotten professional guidance. So the chances are that they're going to find mistakes.
And every category ends with a 0.
But that's another way. So, we just had a client, she got audited for 3 years. She did her own return. Actually, very, very intelligent woman. I'm sure that the numbers were close. But when you have 5,600, 2,750, the IRS knows that you're estimating. You don't want to do that. But rather than give up all of our tax strategies,
We
uh,
can't tell it. We can't give all the secret sauce away, okay? Like,
yeah,
we can't tell you all the
but
different tax strategies and how we do this. All you got to know is that the reconciliation of accounts, it absolutely matters. The operations by which you do the process of accounting, it matters because it can be effective, efficient. It can make it so it complies with the IRS. It can be simple. It doesn't have to be so complicated. A lot of times, Joe and I, we're talking back and forth. We take these big, complicated things, we turn them into something funny, into something fun, and into something that you can actually understand. And that is the benefit. All right. Yeah, that's why we're here, because it's fun, funny, and understandable. The
can I
secret
finish?
sauce.
I
Go
didn't
ahead, Joe.
finish answering this question. So when they do their own return, the last thing you want to do is represent yourself. So we do that. We get a power of attorney. We put the tax return back together the way it was supposed to be, and that's how we do it. Now, if it's done from another accounting firm, chances are that that accounting firm wasn't too good. Okay, and that's why they got audited. That happens a lot. Okay, so as far as going back to the prior accountant, that's usually a waste of time. So we have to take those returns and basically reconstruct them and give the IRS what they want, a clear picture of what happened here. And that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Dun, 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 dun.
So this was fun. Do we have a link or anything? The book is coming out on September 12th.
I don't think we have the link yet there, Joe. I think we are just amping up the idea that this book is coming out, that the secret sauce will be here, that it is already It's been read. It's actually been read by over 100 people, okay? We have testimonials of how awesome this book actually is and how understandable it is and how it's benefited individuals. Like, I'm talking about there are people who have read this book and taken the class and they have jobs now and they didn't before.
You know, it's
That
amazing.
matters.
What surprise we have students that actually have the book because they took the course, they have all of the chapters, and they still want to buy the book. I said, but yeah, and they want the book. Some of them want me to sign it, and that was flattering. That was flat. So I said, yeah, you can buy the book.
Joe, this is a culmination of your 45 years of plus of study. Okay. This information didn't just all of a sudden appear in 13 weeks. That's not the case. This is information that was in Joe's treasure chest of resources and tools. Okay.
Yeah,
One of
but
the things,
let's be honest. Okay, I can't take all the credit. It was you. It was our team. It was the people that asked for this. You know, when we had a friend. She was part of our team. She couldn't devote all of her time to being part of Bedrock, but she had a Facebook group, and it was filled with bookkeepers and accountants. And I said, what if we put together the same kind of course they did for my mom? And back, 17 years ago. And we teach them how to get into the US market. And we had over 350 people register for the first workshop just to show what this was. And then 100, it was just amazing. We had over 60 people register for the first lesson. And then people kept asking, when's the next one? And now we're going to do it on a regular basis.
there's a need. And this is where we are fulfilling we're fulfilling that need. And I think we're doing it in a really positive and progressive way. And we're making it so something that's really complex is simple and is understandable. And that's the goal all the time. And in law school, one of the things that they always taught me was that no one speaks Latin anymore. No one knows what legalese is. No one knows what they're reading when they're looking at contracts or when they're looking at government forms or they're reading those websites. Your mission within your study is always to make things more simplistic, to make it so everybody can understand it. And that's one of the things that I love about working within Bedrock Business Builders is that we do make things simple. You spent 2 years telling me, "Elizabeth, it's got to be simple, simple, simple." And that's how you get the secret sauce. That's how you get that operation. You make it so these big complex things, they're simple.
Yes. The best systems are simple, right?
Mhm.
And this book lays it all out. And
I'm excited about it, Joe. You're gonna go on a book tour in the Philippines in December. Oh, did I just like give a secret? Because that's one of the things that we're doing too. It doesn't just stop right here. In fact, we are just starting the promotion of this book. So you might get tired of hearing about the secret sauce, but don't you worry about a thing, okay? Because it's always gonna be easy to swallow. We're gonna be 99 billion served by the time we're done because we fly with giants around here.
I don't
And
think there's that many people in the world.
I don't. Well, I'll get back to you, Joe.
How about 99? Let's start with 99,000.
All right.
That would be a huge success. So anyway, that's our story. We're going to stick with it, right, Elizabeth?
That we are. And I believe that you're going to hear from us again. Right, Joe? As we do this book promotion, we're going to come up and we're going to pop up and be live here and there. You're always welcome to come to a mastermind with Joe DeChara. We are doing Money Mind masterminding. We have done Jeopardy. We're trying to keep things fun, answer burning business questions. And we also do workshops, one workshop every month at least, and it's either on the second or third Tuesday of a month. If you go to the Bedrock Business Builders group, you can see all of our upcoming workshops for the year. And I think this is where we're readily available. Remember, you can always just go to timewithjoe.com and make a meeting with him.
Okay, put the mastermind link in there. Put the HTTP stuff. But you usually do this.
I know, Joe. I don't know how to do it in StreamYard when we're live. I'm usually like watching in the comments, okay? I'm usually the one in the comments. I don't go live, but here we are. Joe's got me live and in color with everybody, okay? And we're going to do it again. So
Okay.
it's been 40 minutes. It's been real, Joe.
Yes, I'm available 24 hours, just not all in a row. So, all right. So let's end this thing. This has been really fun. It's time for my afternoon nap that I never actually get to take. But anyway, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining. Thanks for making everything fun and interesting. All right.
Bye, everybody.
That's it. Bye.